Hi guys, it's Freddy here back on the tabletop, a freshly watched one this week. And this week, for Retro RPG, I would like to present this. Trinity, the role-playing game, which comes in this amazingly cool little loose leaf, is that what it's called? Folder. Sick of your old role-playing games breaking the backs of the books when you're holding them open at tables or skills? Well, this sits nicely. Anyway, this is a role-playing game which came out in 1997 by White Wolf Games, the producers of Werewolf the Apocalypse, Vampire the Masquerade, Made the Ascension, the whole World of Darkness series of games. And this seemed a little out of character, and I'm not actually sure what that character is at all. Trinity first was going to come out as Aeon, but White Wolf ended up getting sued by the makers of Aeon Flux TV series. So the very first copies actually came out with stickers over the Aeon name, renaming it as Trinity. In fact, for a long time I knew it as Aeon Trinity. But it's a science fiction-ish game set in the future, set about 200 years in the future, where humanity has ventured out into space. There's a couple of evil species. There's chromatics, I believe they're called, which control light. And there's, I can't remember what the other species is called, but a collection of them are coming to Earth to process the planet for supplies. Just interested in our resources. So they're the big two enemies. There are various helpful alien species. So far, so normal for a science fiction game. However, the background is a little odd, in that in the 2000s, 2000 to 2100, there was a war on Earth. Not a nuclear war as such, but one between aberrants, or, yeah, is that how you pronounce it? Aberrant? We'll go with aberrants. These were basically superheroes. They were superpowered individuals which can throw flame around and fly and all that sort of stuff, which were forced away from Earth by humanity threatening to nuke the planet and ruin it for everybody. So these aberrants are still out there. Humans, in the meanwhile, have improved themselves, and the players all play scions, psychically active creatures who likewise almost have superpowers, but they're very focused. So you get some which can teleport, some which can throw flame, some which can read minds and control minds. It very much works out like the clans of Vampire or the tribes in Werewolf, in that you've got access to all these special abilities, but they tend to focus in on a particular area. So that, I think, is Trinity's weak point, in that it's throwing a lot of things at you. It's very nice for having a huge fleshed out background, but not only is every player a psychic with special abilities to master, you've got superpowered villains out there, you've got different types of aliens out there, you've got different types of friendly aliens. It gives you a huge variety of things to do. You can go picking around the ruins of Europe, which was nuked in the Aberrant Wars. You can go to the United States of America, which, due to a plague which destroyed the crops, has become a fascist state. The big countries in the world tend to be the ones which were less technologically advanced and managed to survive the Aberrant Wars. And, you know, Africa, South America, etc., are now the dominant cultures in the world. Now, you've got all of that to put into one book and explain to your players. There's a lot there, and it just feels a little clumsy. As you can see from the books itself, It's very early into computer editing. Lots of flashy colors, lots of very early CGI renderings for things, which is a little dated now. The artwork doesn't look as nice as some games, but it's pretty well presented. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there. One of the things that it really focuses on in Trinity is that there's biotech, so you can modify things and you get almost living computers, big fleshy blobs which do the tasks of computers. It's a very interesting game. The world itself was fleshed out in 2 later games. There was Aberrant itself, set during the sort of superhero eras of the game. And then there was Adventure, which is a 1920s pulp type game. And I'm sure that connects in somehow. I've heard vaguely that the Aberrants, when they were superheroes, were following up in the footsteps of the adventurers of the 1920s. But I don't really see how that fleshes out that well. But they built this world with the 3 games. Trinity was the first one to come out, as I said, in 1997. Although it was set the last, so you got sort of 1920s, in the 2000s, and then in the 2200s for Trinity. They basically created 200 years of sort of history. The game's a kind of variant on the traditional White Wolf ones, where you set pips onto skills based on a priority, onto attributes based on a priority, but it seems a bit more focused, because instead of being a vampire who just happened to be Joe Bloggs who was bitten by a vampire, now you are a trained Scion operative. So you've had certain training throughout your life. So you've got your sort of trained operative skills and you've got your other skills. You know, perhaps you like blanket weaving or whatever. But it's an interesting twist on the usual White Wolf stuff. I liked the look of it. I loved some of the source books. The technology book itself was absolutely amazing when they actually had some space, an entire source book, to flesh out one area of the world. But I just feel that everything's kind of thrown in here. It's just a bit too busy for my liking. You know, having to explain to people what they can do, what the world's like, absolutely everything. Whereas in science fiction, if you're playing just like Traveller, nobody knows the world, but you're a human. You're shooting a gun, you're flying a spaceship. These are concepts everybody can get fairly easily. But not, you've got psychic powers, plus you're trying to use them on aliens. Anyway, that's Trinity, Aeon Trinity, Aeon, whatever they wanted to call it. There's actually been a Kickstarter to try and relaunch this game recently. I haven't checked out to see how successful that was, but fingers crossed for them that it was, because it's an interesting idea. One of the things I read while doing a wee bit of research on this was Trinity was brought out to fill a hole in their schedule. Oh, there's them advertising Aberrant at the back. You are the weapon, let the battle begin. But they had a gap in their schedule, so in 10 months they created the entire gaming universe and wrote the game, which seems a little like a cash grab to me. We need to create something. But if they're still doing it and they're still trying to release it, then that does show some commitment. I hope it will be nicely refined. Anyway, that is Trinity. Thank you very, very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you're liking what I do. And I'll catch you later. Bye.